Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month slows. Full terms at mintmobile.com.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
What up, Laker fans? Welcome back to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Ward, and we got some news. I'm not gonna say more of the same because it's JJ Redick every friggin' day. Everybody chiming in with their opinion and everything. Dogs making an appearance as they always do at the beginning of the podcast. Anyway, stress management. I'm good. This latest news about JJ Redick. It all signs right now are pointing to him being the next head coach. It just feels inevitable. It's come down to him, James Borrego, and Sam Cassell. And those two other names don't exactly blow you away. And Redick definitely doesn't blow you away, but it seems like they are enamored with this former NBA player with zero coaching experience, which I still find baffling. I really do. But this quote that came out saying that I can't even believe it, really. Well, you know what? I can, because the news and media and all this crap that comes out on a daily basis is just wild. And I think I'm more surprised by people buying into this crap than the crap coming out itself. It's like they just throw anything up against the wall, and all of a sudden fans are like, "Oh my God, yeah, this is gonna work." It's like, really, dude? Have you thought this through? Anyway, to get to the point, they called JJ Redick Pat Riley-like. Pat Riley, NBA legend, Pat Riley, one of the most successful coaches and executives in NBA history, Pat Riley. And I guess the first thing that people are going to think about is how he didn't have experience in the beginning, but he did. He was actually an assistant on, the Lakers winning their first title in the Showtime era. And then he ascended to the head coaching position, in which he barely got, by the way, at the time, because they knew that it was a big risk. Like they had back then, they actually thought things through and didn't fall in love with headlines. I can't. How can you compare Pat Riley to JJ Redick? I just don't understand it. Where is the comparison? Where is it? Well, just like the young, youthful, new guy to come in. That's the only thing. And I just, you're gonna jump to that. I mean, he's either. I say him and Phil Jackson are probably neck and neck, right, in terms of greatest Lakers head coach of all time. So to compare this guy with no coaching experience to one of the greatest head coaches ever and one of the best in franchise history is just nuts to me. I just don't. Like, when I first saw it, the first thought that came to my mind was like, that's like comparing a guy, the best player at your local gym, and calling him like Kobe-like. I'm like, what? What? Because he hit a fadeaway? Like, I don't know. I am at a loss for words now, because the Lakers just seem to like reek of desperation at this point. Like, they don't exactly know what to do. The competition around in the West is just getting younger and better, and like look like, I've said like a lot. I feel like a friggin' teenage girl. They've set themselves up for the future, right? You got OKC, you got Minnesota, Denver. Those three alone are enough to be like, there's nobody contending with those guys. There's just what I don't know what the Lakers would have to do to get to that level. And let's just landing some star player around the league that hasn't even been mentioned yet. I mean, all it is Donovan Mitchell this, Donovan Mitchell that, potentially Darius Garland. And that's kind of where it stopped. I mean, DeMar DeRozan was mentioned recently because he was asked about potentially signing with LA because he'll be a free agent. I don't hate that, but I don't think that's going to make you a title contender. I think it'll make you good. I think it'll make you near the top teams in the West. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. DeRozan's not a three-point shooter. He might need to be the number one guy in order to be DeMar DeRozan. I mean, that's one thing I think people keep forgetting when they talk about the Lakers is, bringing in Donovan Mitchell. Is Donovan Mitchell really going to want to come in and be number 3? The guy's in the prime of his career, and he just led a team to the second round of the playoffs essentially by himself, right? And then they couldn't do anything without him once he got hurt with a calf strain, which seems like the injury of the playoffs, which is kind of concerning because, I mean, calf strains, they always say, or it tends to lead to Achilles if you push it too far, right? And Achilles rupture, whatever. And then that injury is becoming more common than it used to be. It's kind of weird. That's a little off topic, but anyway, so there was one report that came out saying that he wants the lights and the glitz and the glamour and stuff of being the third guy, the fall guy. If he comes in and the Lakers suck or they don't live up to expectations, the finger's going to get pointed at him. I'm sorry. It's just the trend. I mean, look in history. Look at the LeBron era. That's what's happened every time. Somebody becomes the fall guy, and that's it. Then they move on. Westbrook was the fall guy. Ham, Vogel. I mean, go down the line. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen if it's up to Cavs owner Dan Gilbert, who said that I don't want to go off, or I didn't write the exact quote down, but he essentially says, I'm not trading Mitchell to the Lakers. Seems like he doesn't want to do anything to help. I think that's kind of the trend around the league. A lot of teams just don't want to help the Lakers become a juggernaut. They're probably so tired of hearing about a team that won one game in the playoffs, dominating the headlines every day. It's got to be annoying. It's like, where's our props kind of thing? And, Dan Gilbert's got a good team there, a special team. And if he can keep it together, they might, ascend to another level. And then, if he's not willing to trade Mitchell, is he really going to be willing to trade Garland or Jared Allen to LA? I don't think so. I don't know if he's still got, an axe to grind with LeBron or whatever, and he just doesn't want to help him out. I don't know. It's just everything seems connected to the Cavs right now. But outside of that, because we don't know where that's going to go, a report recently came out that AD was tired of Darvin Ham, and that's one of the reasons why he was fired. That makes more sense to me than anything right now. AD, there was times where he was just crushing the other team, and then all of a sudden in the fourth, they just go completely away from him, and it makes absolutely no sense. It just totally looks terrible on Ham's part because he wasn't a great coach. He just wasn't. I mean, he got exposed, and AD had enough. And I guess they were saying the reason they went that way is because they didn't want to make AD request a trade. I guess, he did that in New Orleans. Who's to say he won't do it again if it gets rocky here, which it is right now. It is rocky. if I were him, I'd be thinking about my immediate future. What does it hold? What are my chances of winning another title? Do I want to go back home to Chicago and like live out, a childhood dream, or go somewhere else? I mean, that's just, he's human. He's got to be thinking about that, especially with LeBron's future up in the air. I mean, I'm sure AD is way more informed than damn near anybody when it comes to LeBron, and his thought process of what he might be doing. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I think that's totally warranted completely. I mean, if anybody was going to be pissed at Ham, it should be AD, and then LeBron, and then the front office. So that makes total sense. And then another interesting report came out of Kelly. I don't want to butcher the last name here, Ioko or IKO of The Athletic, saying that the Orlando Magic have interest in D'Angelo Russell if he opts out of his deal with the Lakers and becomes a free agent, because they have a ton of money to spend. They arguably need scoring, and that's pretty much all you get from D'Angelo besides a ball handler in the backcourt. That's another move that I think makes total sense for both D'Angelo and Orlando, especially if they're willing to pay him. I love how I just totally. Anyway, so yeah, if he is opting out, he's got an option there. I'm sure more options will arise. He is that kind of guy, and give you 20, 30 points a night. I mean, 30 points is stretching it, but he has the capability of doing that, dropping 30 on any given night. But you're looking at about 20 and like 6-7 assists per night. That's perfect for Orlando, who just, the one thing they were missing was that consistent offensive threat outside of Banchero, or Apollo Banchero. Hope I didn't butcher his name. So that makes things that much more interesting. And then there was the Eric Pincus of Bleacher Report. Cool dude. I covered tons of games sitting next to that guy at Staples. I guess he went on Jovan Buha's podcast, and he dropped kind of a bombshell saying that Chris Paul is a real possibility to sign with the Lakers this summer. Sign or get traded. I'm not quite sure what his deal is, but he could get just cut by the Warriors, because he didn't really do anything for them, even though, they traded Jordan Poole for him and all that. And they thought he was going to be a bit of a game changer if he got along with the team, which he did. He's over the hill. I mean, he's kind of washed now. And I personally don't think it's worth it. I think that's another move just to make kind of LeBron happy and get a ball handler in there. But why would
passion, drive, and patience? The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. See ebaymotors.com.
you want to bring in another dude who's at the end of his career who can't stay healthy? Does this team ever learn from its mistakes? Like, ever? Don't get another aging star just to bring in another freaking face, to fill a void where it's just going to be another problem down the road. Who knows, though? I mean, who knows? Maybe Chris Paul comes in and he's held remarkably healthy for some odd reason this late in his career, and he helps the team. But what are the chances of that? Like, the odds are definitely not in favor of that happening. It's the opposite. And that's so obvious. It's so glaringly obvious. But like I said, I think this team is so desperate right now It's like, I mean, that's the same move as bringing in Melo. It didn't do anything, right? And Melo was healthy, and he, gave you 15 points off the bench, 20 occasionally, but he didn't move the needle at all. He didn't change anything. They didn't get better. He had his occasional nights where he went off, but nothing crazy. I mean, it just feels like another ploy to put butts in the seats and something to rally around. Like, oh, we got another star. Like, it's just, well, yeah, but he's not a star anymore, really. That's just another frustrating thing. I mean, and if it's a real possibility, that means this is already getting talked about. One name I did hear, little birdie told me that the team kind of hopes that D'Lo will leave, opt out and leave in free agency, and they'll have the money to bring in Jonas Valanciunas from New Orleans. I think he would be great. I think he would be ideal next to AD or coming off the bench or sharing minutes in the front court. He had a banger, like legit banger of a big man. He'll crash the glass. I think he checks a lot of boxes that weren't checked last season. I mean, he is far and away better than Jackson Hayes. That's not even a comparison. But I like that. I like that move. And I also heard that Ty Lue might still be a possibility. That the contract negotiations with the Clippers are not going well. There's some tension between Ballmer and Lue. But take that with a grain of salt, because I don't. Sometimes these things I hear, I'm like, it seems to make sense, and then it just turns out to be bogus. But sometimes they're right on the money. So take that for what it's. I mean, if Lue is still on the table, if he's still an option, there's some light at the end of the tunnel there. He is the ideal coach to bring in. I mean, throw the bag at him. Like, don't make the same mistake you did last time. Talk about dumb, man. Like, even though they still won the title with Vogel, excuse me, Lue could still be coaching right now, and you wouldn't have this problem, this constant turnover at the head coaching and the coaching staffs. So it's one of those things. Like, I really wish I knew what drove this team, but it does seem like it's just money. They just want to make money, and winning comes second. And I hate to say that for this franchise that's done so well over the years, and inspired me as a kid. With how passionate they were about winning. But these moves that they make, they're just not winning moves. They're not smart moves. It's like, I'd say going back to Westbrook. Westbrook was the one move where I was like, what the hell are you doing? That made zero sense to me. And then all the talk was like, oh, him and LeBron are very close. I'm like, really? You're really just going to bring a dude in just because he's close to LeBron James? I mean, look what disaster that was. That was an absolute disaster. I mean, they did everything in their power to get out of that after it was clear that it didn't work. And now he's the Clippers' problem. He's done all right for the Clippers, but they still have to force him into a reserve role, which seemed near impossible when he was in LA. And then once he finally slips into it, oh, wow, it actually works, But anyway, the good news is AD actually made all defensive first team. He got the least amount of first place votes, which I thought was weird. I don't know why he doesn't get more credit for being an elite defender. I really don't. The guy is top notch. He's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year every year. He should have gotten one at this point, I think. I don't know what the infatuation with Bam Adebayo is, really. I've watched him play, and he doesn't have the same impact defensively as AD does. But for some reason, voters love him. So, and I think there was something that somebody pulled up an old podcast of JJ Redick, and he was going down the best 10 defenders in the league, and there was somebody noticeably absent. Yep. AD was not on his list of top 10 defenders. Not top 5, not top 3, top 10. He got 10 guys in the league that are better defensively than him. That's nuts. What the hell are you thinking? Really? Come on, dude. And this is the guy you're going to hire to be the head coach? Wow. That's all I got to say. Wow. But, and then another story coming out about LeBron not being involved in the process all of a sudden. I thought this was interesting because this was the same time, the same day that I heard that Ty Lue was still a possibility. And I was like, okay, that timing is a little interesting that all of a sudden they're stepping back from the JJ thing. I mean, LeBron never outright endorsed him, but he never stopped the narrative. And LeBron is all about narratives. I mean, he's even admitted these things. Like, he likes controlling the narrative, and he knows when a narrative's going a certain way or whatever, and to say the right things. And if this were the case, the second JJ became a candidate, he should have said something, right? Or this was Rich Paul that said something this time. So it wasn't like directly out of LeBron's mouth, but saying he's not involved. I don't believe that. How can you believe that? He's heading into the twilight of his NBA career. He's arguably got one contract left in him, right? Which could be 2 to 3 years. I mean, some even argue that he could play 5. And I wouldn't doubt that. If he could stay in shape the way he is, and you saw what Brady did in the NFL, like, yeah, I could see that. I mean, it sounds, that's not crazy like it used to be. But if that's the case, you have to be thinking like, this is my last hurrah. I'm planning, my exit plan kind of thing. Where do I want to finish? The fact he didn't commit to the Lakers, the exit interview that he had after the Nuggets won the series. Just a few things, to keep an eye on. I'm really curious to see where this goes, but we still have a month until he has to make his decision on opting out, which I think is silly at this point. He's opting out. If he opted in, I would be shocked. But I'd also think if he opted in, it's opting in to get traded. That's what I would think. And he would control that trade. And I would assume it'd be Cleveland. But this whole Dan Gilbert thing coming out of nowhere, that kind of throws a wrench in the gears too. So I don't know. This is crazy. It's what we should expect from the Lakers. It's nuts. Every year, every summer, it's just nuts. Regardless if they're a title contender or not, it's always mayhem. It's always wondering what's true, what's not. I think if the only thing I could say that it's not set in stone because of the Ty Lue thing, but JJ is more than likely going to get hired. I don't have any sources to back that up, but it just seems like it's all going that direction. I did think it was really strange that Clutch Sports and Braun would back away, say that they've done nothing to make JJ the top candidate and all that. Which, how is he candidate all of a sudden? I don't get it. Out of nowhere. Starts a podcast only a few months ago with LeBron, and then he's the candidate a few months later. What? What? Put the pieces together. It's not that hard. But anyway, more fireworks to come, I am sure. It's a daily freaking shit show circus that's going to just keep on rolling. Round and round we go, as I tweeted the other day when that denial came out. And I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm a little exhausted about it already because it's just like, it's comical at this point. And it's kind of crazy how they're dominating all the headlines. And it's more than, I think there was, what was it, that Stephen A. Smith, there was a thing on ESPN, can Stephen A. Smith score on LeBron 101 or something? We're in the middle of the friggin' playoffs, and you're talking about that? Like, that just shows you right there how much of a cash cow the Lakers are. Lakers and LeBron, for that matter. They would rather talk about that, or they couldn't come up with something else, for the – I mean, it's been a pretty entertaining playoffs thus far. I mean, I've been entertained. I think the Knicks were fun as hell to watch. I'm kind of bummed that they didn't get to the next round because it would have been nice to see them potentially take down Boston. But they are just so banged up. Such a bummer to see Jalen Brunson go down with a broken hand or fractured hand or whatever at the end of that Game 7. But Pacers deserved it. I mean, they're a tough team. I think no one has given them any credit. No one has given them any chance to be a title contender. And now they're in the Final Four. It's kind of wild. So they deserve it. They deserve to advance. It's just a little bum. Like, I just love the way the Knicks play. Hustle, Hart, Josh Hart, seeing him just flourish in the right place. And then Dallas OKC, that was a good series. Luka and Kyrie just look awesome right now. I think they're going to give Minnesota a run for their money, but I think Minnesota is going to come out on top. I think their defense kind of gives them the edge in that series. OKC was good defensively, but I think Minnesota's better. So, but I do think the crazy thing is Ant hasn't exactly blown up, right? He hasn't become that like Jalen Brunson during the playoffs, where it's just like 40-point game, 40-point game, 40-point game. I mean, you counted on him to do that. He got to that point where you're just like, oh yeah, that's going to happen for sure. But then Ant would just have these kind of hot and cold nights. But he's young. I mean, he's 22 years old. I mean, you got to give him a pass. But if that guy turns into a monster, like where he is just consistent every night, he's 30, no problem. I mean, they'll cook Dallas, I think. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a sweep. I would say, if I were to guess, I would say 6 games. Let's say Minnesota in 6 games. I could see it going 7. I can also see it going 5 if Dallas just kind of falls flat. And I'm not ruling out Dallas completely because I didn't think they would get this far, to be honest. And it's crazy that Denver is done. I mean, that's why I think I'm so high on Minnie now. It's just they're impressive, man. I think it'll come down to Minnesota, Boston, and I'm not quite sure who's going to win that one. But if I were to, I think biasly, I would pick Minnesota just because I don't want to see Boston win. But that would be a good series. That'd be a fun series. I mean, I watched the Pacers Boston last night, and even though it was a good game, I was still bored as hell. And the passing was just awful. Like, occasionally Halliburton had a good dish here and there, but the majority of the time it was just these really sloppy passes. Maybe it's just the jitters of a game 1, 2 teams trying to figure each other out. But I just couldn't get into it. I was like, damn, man, I wish I missed the Knicks already. So we'll see. I mean, I think Dallas, Minnesota, game 1 is tonight. That'll be interesting. I'll definitely be watching that. And then kind of need to speed this thing up. So people are saying that the Lakers are waiting until the finals are over to hire their head coach. I don't totally believe that. I won't be surprised to hire him tomorrow. But we'll see. It's we're not even technically full on into the off season yet, and it's already nuts. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I guarantee, in a week, or there's a possibility this all could change. All of it. Who knows? But until next time, peace.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.